everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex, and this is Big Baby Reviews. Check out my comics, Big Baby and Star Crasher, at KINGCOMICS.CA. Check out my YouTube channel and videos, King Comics 2021. Check out my Instagram, MaximusRex13, and check out my Facebook, MaxRex and or Big Baby. So today we're taking a huge swerve on the Monday. It used to be Sam Keith. We are over and done with Sam Keith, and we're moving on to the next artist that's going to be filling the, excuse me, not the Monday, but the Tuesday slot, and that is JAE LEE. So I first discovered him, obviously, late in his Marvel run and early in his Image run, but I've gone back about as far as I can go. I don't have the Marvel Comics Presents stuff he's done. I've had a look at it. It's very kind of embryonic in early stages, and honestly not that great, and different inkers are on there and stuff. So I think to start with Namor is a pretty good starting point for sure for his art. So we're looking at the Savage Namor, the Submariner, kind of repetitive there. Issue number 26, May 1992. So he was on Namor for about a year, I think, something like that. I have the whole run, so we'll be looking at that and then moving on to his Image work. But yeah, so starting right off the bat with a completely JAE LEE produced cover, right? So not quite exactly what we're going to come to recognize as JAE LEE in the next year or so, but definitely on the right path to that. Definitely, you know, the veins and the slight Bisley anatomy and you know, the spatter in the back and stuff like that. Definitely something that will become trademarks, okay, of JAE LEE. Not quite coalescing yet here exactly on the cover, but definitely a proto version of that. As far as the lighting and stuff, you know, the bit of Mike Mignola he's talked about back in his you know, I mentioned Simon Bisley and Mike Mignola. These are two of his more obvious influences to a certain extent, and he actually admitted to early on being more of a John Byrne clone, and we'll maybe see a bit more of that within the comic here. Excuse me, but that is it for the cover. We're going to have a look inside, and as we move along, I do want to mention that later on, the last few Namor issues, he's actually working on those concurrently with his first issues of Youngblood Strike File that he did for Image, right? And he's like 16, 17, maybe 18 years old in this like 2-year span here. So it's actually crazy to see how great the art is, the quality of the art, and how fast he's producing as well at that age. So, you know, I read interviews where around this time he's saying he was doing about 6 or 7 pages a day, which is insane, and great payday too, while the comic book bubble is probably still going there. So, you know, maybe not so much on Namor, but definitely when he moves on to Image, I'm sure he made some good coin with the work that he did there. So yeah, that's kind of the setup we've seen the cover. Let's have a look inside. Just be ready. It's kind of different for what's on the cover. So what we get on the inside, I'll read the credits and maybe that'll make more sense as to why the art looks this way. A bold new chapter in the life of the Submariner, brought to you by John Byrne, words, Bob Wyacek, I think is how you say that, inks. So right off the bat, JAE LEE is not being inked, or not inking himself, rather, he's being inked by someone else. Glynis Oliver colors, and Pat Garrahy, I guess is how you say that. John Byrne and Steve Dutro do the lettering, so that's funny. John Byrne is writing and doing lettering. Interesting. And a Mighty Marvel welcome to JAE LEE pencils. So at this point, I think the Image guys have kind of moved on and stuff, so they're not really, you know, putting new artist JAE LEE at the top. They're really small at the bottom saying new artist JAE LEE. You know, pretty subdued kind of introduction for your first issue of a major, you know, published comic by Marvel Comics, right? Anyways, so what I think we get here is right away 2 things. A more traditional kind of art style for JAE LEE starting off on Namor, and a real quick sense of his good design sense when he already at this young age, he's doing great compositions and great designs on the page, and that's a lot of the work in making JAE LEE's art a little bit different and distinguishable from others, and also quite unique. So you already kind of see it here where he's using those stark shadows in around here, this one big shape in the background, the cityscape and stuff, all the layering. It's very kind of designy, if I can, you know, use a word like that. And we'll see more examples of that throughout the comic. So what is establishing the story? Listen, it's written by John Byrne. There's a lot of kind of, you know, tried and true tropes and stereotypes and stuff. So it's not the greatest story in the world. Basically, as we move along, you'll see that you could almost replace Namor with Wolverine in the story. So it's kind of weird. The Savage Namor, right? He's got a beard and long hair and stuff. So we'll see that soon. But Namorita, I guess at this point, is the head of the corporation that Namor was the head of for a while, and he's disappeared. So she's just wondering, as the phylactery tells us, where is Namor? Namor! No, it's Namor, right? I say Namor. Does anyone say Namor? Let me know in the comments. So again, that design sense comes into play here. Here's where we get like the JAE LEE kind of silhouettes that he tends to do, right? Here he's still kind of using it in a storytelling way, in a design sense, not so much as a, excuse me, tried and true thing all the way through. Although, you know, it pops up every once in a while, like Captain American stuff, which is good and works all around. Again, there's a good balance on the pages. And again, the angle, this thing here in the background, the windows, right? Like the cutting kind of border here, a thick border, then a thin border. Is that the ceiling? Like, you know, like it definitely creates like a sense of layering. The very fact that the table pops out of the frame here, as does her head up here, you know, implies a much bigger space, but it's just so subtle and works really well. That's just such a great designed panel, very evocative. Then we move in on the characters, and JAE LEE, like I said, at this point is 16 or 17 when he's doing this, and he's just got great compositional sense, which he's going to carry out throughout his career. Even though his style changes, that basic compositional sense pretty much stays throughout his career, as well it should, right? It shouldn't go away because it's pretty good. The clarity of these pages, right? And it's, yeah, wow, like these simple, effective backgrounds back here, just lines and black spaces and a bit of texture here, but just so effective and so clear. Again, the use of silhouette, right? But the rendering, once again, inked by Bob Wiacek, the rendering is more traditional for what, you know, that crossover period from the 80s to the 90s that Marvel was doing at that point. And so what we find out is that there's some sort of like huge kind of mechanical machine that's going in the woods and cutting everything. And you know, this gentleman here who's a lumberjack gets injured somehow with this machine, and once his friends find him, they see Namor and they think that he's responsible for it. So here's an example of JAE LEE being smart with his design, his layouts, his silhouettes and stuff. This whole page is to keep Namor as a mysterious figure, so that makes sense. He's in silhouette pretty much all the way through, right? And you know, the dark paneling around the panels, the smaller panels, the black and the negative space is what I meant to say. Even just here, this like close-up set of legs, like it doesn't take very long to draw this and silhouette it, and it's very evocative, and everyone has a smart panel here. When you have multiple characters, don't have them all be in the same position, right? Even if they're all running. Right now, there's one guy who hasn't started running. There's one guy who's really into it. One guy's getting his weapon ready. This guy's running, you know, so everyone's got a different position. And again, it's almost like animation. It's suggesting a movement that you're continuing in your mind, right? Even though it's 4 different characters, you kind of imagine. It's more evocative in your imagination to have these 4 guys in those 4 different positions than like if they were all in the same position. So we get, it is the 90s, so we get a double page splash here, but kind of like with a nice cool shot, but also bits of storytelling throughout, so not just a cop-out. And again, JAE LEE at this point, very much more like kind of, I don't, like, in instances more traditional, and in others very modern. It's kind of like the mix of the two is what's happening right here. Because you'll see some drawings which aren't so great in this first issue, but like this one I think is solid. The anatomy's solid. It looks, you know, like something could look, that top part maybe in like an 80s Marvel comic, but then the way the hatching down here on the axe, and the fact that he's just breaking the axe, and the way that's rendered, and the hatching here and down here is very 90s. So there's like this weird kind of mix, this bipolar mix of both, right? It's like they're fighting each other, but at the same time kind of creating an interesting style. And you get like these angles that JAE LEE chooses to draw people at, and the way he draws cheekbones and stuff, it's like it's already all here. Just the aesthetic on top is a little more Marvel, and slowly it's going to morph more into, you know, what we know as traditional JAE LEE from that period, and get kind of dirty and Simon Bisley-ish and brutish, which I don't hate. Even this, like how quickly can you get through this panel here with a silhouette, and it just evokes everything you need. You've got the desk, you got the character who talked on the phone, right? His backgrounds are minimal, but it's enough. Of course, they've imprisoned him. So here's the shot too, where it's like, you know, and as you see, you know, the feral man from the woods is basically Wolverine. So it's just a very odd thing. The choice to do the hatching here, I don't know, like it's kind of a McFarlane thing almost, right? McFarlane does that, so I don't know if it works completely. I don't know if it'd be better if it was just blacked in, which I think he'll do later. I figure he did it because of this leg being already filled in black. he's like, what do I do, you know, when I get down here? So he just hatched out, which is a solution for sure. But again, this is more of a design panel than anything else, because the perspective and her in the front doesn't quite work exactly logically, but it works visually for sure, right? Her the foreground and him kind of on another plane, right? Matching those two still creates a certain level of layering. And I mean, already he's trying to stay away from the basic grid. He really has up to this point. And even like, look at these panels here with the curved lines. A slight maybe Sam Keith kind of vibe. Always good to tilt your angles even inside the panel. We've got one angle here, one angle here, and then it changes again. So everything's a little bit off kilter on that page. And he's still working for Marvel, so he's not skipping on the storytelling. There are a lot of panels, like these 2 pages, for example, are a good example. I'll mention it. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 panels on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a pretty good average here for a Marvel comic. Not something we're going to see at Image with JAE Lee, at least not at first. And like sometimes like he'll just surprise me with the greatest little, like this little panel down here, the silhouette of the house, him, the girl. The sun setting, I assume, is what that's colored to look like. Kind of the Colorado mountains in the background. Like just this panel, I think, is really cool. And just so simple and effective. And the art, again, is for first issue here on Namor, and he's pretty young. The art's pretty impressive. You know, if you've seen his modern stuff, it's, you know, it's clear the guy knows how to draw. Whether or not you like this kind of aesthetic, it's pretty 90s, but, you know, there's no denying he knows, again, how to draw, how to compose an image. He's just kind of become a little more subtle, I guess, with his art over the years. And that makes sense. A lot of artists kind of go that way. Even the design of this machine here and the silhouette of it, right? And of course, like I said, the story is like, ugh, whatever, but, you know, he's the mysterious stranger. And of course, she is attracted to him, right? Like, look, how's that not Wolverine? Just shave this bit of beard here in the middle, and that's Wolverine with, you know, a little bit of a ponytail there. Anyways, all my life I've been hoping, praying that maybe someday someone from the outside, some handsome stranger would come and whatever, save us, right? Like it's, yeah, John Byrd's not really going really far for this storyline. He's not digging deep. Another kind of interesting layout here, with the panel kind of cutting in almost like a blade. So this machine that cuts down the forest comes into town, starts attacking the jailhouse and her father. And this page, okay, a few comments. One, I think it's pretty cool. I like the interesting kind of layout. The fact that this is one panel split into 2 is cool. The fact that this panel is also a panel split into 2. So you get the impression that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels, but this is actually 3 technically. But it is a continued movement panel, right? From him to him and then here to here. So there's a moving continuity thing going, which really works. And just the whole design of it is very clever. The only thing, I think they missed a chance here, and I don't know if this is down to JAE Lee himself or the Marvel production, the letters or anything, but, you know, she goes, Dad, and he goes, no, why put that here? You've got this big, you know, round shape here. Take that now, make it bigger, put it right here, and put a little triangle for the phylactery there. Tell us that Namor's saying that. I feel like that's a missed opportunity design-wise. I think it's right there. Did he not see that? Anyways. Interesting kind of splash page, really, because there's just one little insert panel here, which is cool. A bit of screen tone on top to give it a different look. I guess through the screen of this machine is what's being implied there. And the design of that machine, simple and effective, I would say. You know, quick to draw, but looks interesting and is cool. And just, again, the silhouette, you know, leads to the mystery of it all, even for this huge kind of destructive machine, you know. Bathed in shadows and all this stuff here. What exactly is it? We're not sure, but it's scary looking. Of course, Namor's confronting it, and we're back to whatever corporate headquarters Namor was head of, that Namorita is now head of. And that's pretty much it for this issue. The only thing is, just at the end here, she says, Namor, I can feel him again. That's Namorita. And right away, the next panel, she's out the window. Wow. And, like, I just really like this panel here. It's a silhouette, simple. Her movement, right, is just so dynamic. He's got the speed lines. Added these circles here. Why? Is it like lens flare or something? I don't know why, but it's just kind of cool. I don't even know if it makes sense, but I like it. So it's like very designy. There you go. So JAE Lee, as you can see, already had just such a great sense of design and composition at an early point in his career. So that just kept blossoming and getting better. That is my review of Namor issue 26, guys. So if you're still subscribed and God willing you're still watching, thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. If you're watching but you're not subscribed, please do so below. It only takes a second. It really helps the channel out, helps us grow, helps get us out there to other people who are into comic books just like we are. So hope everyone out there has some great plans and have an awesome day.
Like, subscribe, like, subscribe.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KINGCOMICS.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.